So we want to welcome everyone to another edition of our R&B podcast with myself and Stevie Street. How you doing, Stevie?
I'm very good, sir. A bit worse for wear from a big night out last night, but yeah, I'm really good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. You do sound a little horsey. What did you get up to?
I went to the New Jack Brum night in Birmingham City Centre. It's an event that happens once a year, so it's a full night of New Jack swing, hip hop, soul, and 90s R&B. Like I
Wow.
say, it's once a year, and this is the second event this month that I've been to that I've kind of felt
Oh
like
yeah, because you did go to
I've
yeah.
gone back to the 90s. So very surreal for me, very surreal, because it just brought back a lot of memories from the mid-20s when I was going out clubbing every week in Manchester. All them R&B and soul nights in the 90s, and I went with this guy and his wife. Big shout to Neil and Jody, and they were like, you know all these tracks because you was buying them when they came out, so you heard them. I said, yeah, I did. I know all these tracks, mate, every single one of them. You know, and I'd hear them
So there was nothing played that you didn't know that you hadn't heard before.
everything I knew, but it was just good to hear. Like when we got in there, we got in quite early. It ran from about 9 o'clock till 2:30 a.m. So when we got in, there was a DJ playing a lot of like mid-90s R&B, like album cuts, even some like UK R&B. Like I thought, I've not heard these for stuff like Truce, A Few Good Men, Donnell Jones, Andre Wilson from that Eddie F compilation. Just good, solid, like mid-beat, up-tempo, like 90s R&B that you just don't hear much. So yeah, shame Colin. Good evening, Colin. Shame Colin couldn't make it. And then from about 11...
That's his neighborhood as well.
What, sorry?
Colin's from Birmingham, so Colin, I
Yeah,
was
he
surprised
couldn't
you
make
didn't make it,
it.
but he's in Dubai.
Yeah, he couldn't make
He
it.
couldn't make it.
So yeah, and then
Okay.
from about 11:30
HMBs.
onwards,
Hey, Tanya.
all the New Jack Swing started, and I was sat down. My friend and his wife were up dancing, and I'm just waiting. I don't know what it was, because I used to dance a lot in the mid-90s, Namdi. I danced. I've learned how to, because I knew the records. I knew how to drop a foot, as they would say. I knew how to dance. And I'm sat there thinking, I'm 50 years old. Can I still do it? I was just waiting for the right track comes on, and then they start playing the girls. That song playing, playing, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. All these games you're playing. I'm ready. I'm like, I've got to get up and dance. And then Redhead Kingpin came on, High Five came on, Bubba came on. Oh, it was just one after the other, and I was just in heaven, mate. Doing all the moves, doing all the. I thought I still got it. I still got it 25 years later. So yeah.
Wow, goodness. So yes, so Stevie he didn't get home. What time did you get home?
I got back to the hotel about 3 a.m.
Oh goodness.
You know, I did ask. He didn't play any Bobby Brown in the last half hour. I went up to the DJ, and I had Getaway on my phone, and I went, "Is there any chance you can play Getaway?" And he went,
for your phone.
He was like like that. But I'll tell you what, he played it. Respect to him. I think it's DJ Double D, his name. He played Bobby Brown Getaway, and I was like,
"Oh yeah, Stevie, Double D never fails to disappoint." Yeah, that's what
brilliant DJ. Brilliant, you know, full respect.
Okay.
You know, full respect to him.
Oh, wow.
But
hey, well, guys,
next you've got to try just once a year. You know, it's like, listen, mate, you're a husband, you work hard, you raise your kids. Every now and then, you deserve, as a man, just to go out for one night and just have a pat. You know, enjoy yourself, mate, and party and enjoy that music you love, mate, just for one night a year. Tell him people, get in the comments and tell him, just for, you know, drive up to Birmingham next year, even bring your missus, get a babysitter, book a hotel, and enjoy yourself, mate. I didn't drink much. I had 2 or 3 drinks, that was it. And then I was on 2 or 3 drinks, got me in the mood to dance. I was dancing. Then I was on water and lemonade for the rest of the night. You know,
Okay.
I'm not that age in my 20s where I can like drink loads. I never could drink loads anyway, but 2 or 3 enough, mate. You know, but seriously,
Well,
mate,
I mean, it's
you know,
it's something I'll put.
try and get you there and get VJ up next year. Hopefully, Colin can make it. Big shout to Big Mike's. I don't think he's joined yet, but regular podcast watcher Big Mike's, he was there, and he's a big guy. He's definitely a Tyrone. That guy, he's dropping some foot.
Anyway, guys, we welcome you guys, Rio, Tanya out in Germany, Chim Beats, Colin. So this evening we are doing an album of an artist that I've known about since '91, but I hadn't known about beyond his single "I Lost for You," which was on the House Party 2 soundtrack. It was just his name, London Jones. The songs, towards the end of the album, never saw any visuals. And in '94, he dropped his one and only, well, his debut album on MCA Silas Records. And I think one of the challenges he had was being on MCA and MCA Silas is because MCA had cornered the market with urban black music. And so for some reason, it was a good label to be on to get the producers and to get the marketing, but it was also a bad label to be on because they just had too many artists, and a lot of people suffered for that. Not a lot of attention given to that. So think about it. All of BBD were on MCA. Ralph was on MCA. So was Bobby Brown. Uptown was signed to MCA. Then Silas Records, which had Aaron and Damien, as well as London Jones. Jackie McGee was there. Jody Watley was on MCA. And this is just a few that I can remember off heads. They had hundreds of black artists on MCA. And it really had a detrimental effect on longevity of most of these artists. But Stevie, you're the one who suggested this album. And what are your memories of London Jones For You album?
Listen, I'm gonna put my hands up tonight. This is a totally selfish album pick by myself, and I was aware that Namdi, and it was I sent it to Miss J as well. A bit disappointed she's not turned up, but I said, listen, we've been doing Michael Jackson, we've done the Brandies, we've done a lot of big albums. Let's just pick a real unsung album, the real R&B 90s collectors will know about. It is a selfish pick, but I did, this album has got it's got more than a few gems on it. And it's just, I don't know too much about the guy. His voice is like, it's a bit like Marmite. You're either going to be really into it or you ain't going to be into it. But you'll like the production on the album because it had some big producers that you all know quite well, like your Kyle West, Chris Tricky Stewart's,
Tony.
Angela Wimbush is on here. Talzane Giles is on here.
Stanley Brown.
I suppose my biggest memory of it, and for a lot of you out there, was the single Joy when that dropped in '94, because that was being, especially in the UK, as a single, it did get released in the UK. Got played on a lot of like the underground pirate radio stations, probably in Birmingham, London. It was big in Manchester. All the underground clubs in Manchester at the time were playing Joy. It was a massive single. It's been hammered on the pirate radio stations up here. And like you say, MCA really in this country, they were forced to release it on because it was picking up a lot of club radio play. So it was really a club hit. It was an underground club hit. I don't know what happened in America. I know they released 2 singles, but the album dropped, and a lot of, I would say, like the soul connoisseur type stations shows were playing a lot of the album cuts, you know. So it picked up a lot of like quality radio plays at the time. 2 singles released. Obviously, I don't know why there wasn't a 3rd single. I don't know how the album sold. I don't even know what happened to him. But it's an album that's always stuck with me. I always go back to it because the tracks have just stood the test of time. So yeah, big remix.
Yeah, the Joe remix featuring Kill. Now, I asked Jackie McGee, do you remember London Jones? She said, no, I've never heard of him. I said, but you guys were on the same label. And so Jackie knows everyone. And so it just shows you that now I was in the States and I was in America from 92. And I was on, you know, I was on the pulse of everything. I didn't hear from him or hear of him. And that was definitely a shame because I listened to the album and I thought actually it was hard, you know. Timmy was saying it's hard to rate, the songs were great. I think there were a lot of songs that they were all in the same majority in the same ballpark where it was hard for me to, you know, I didn't have like in most albums have I had 1 or 2 songs that I think were just on the top, but all the others I could have been on anywhere because they were really good. But I don't think it had that that song that would just, you know, you hear it once and you can't get out your mind and it just transcends the radio.
Do you not think Joy was that? Because it was for me, Namdi. You know, did Joy not? Again, I've got to take into consideration you've not kind of been brought up with this album. Did you remember Joy at the time, the single? Or you
No, no. The only song I know from him that I Lost for You, and
Right.
because of the House Party soundtrack, and I heard that before. I mean, that came in '91, and it's so you can see how long they've kept this guy behind the scenes. If the House Party came out in '91, his debut album came out in '94. So that was the only song that I was like, oh, I know this guy and I know the song and I know the name, but yeah. So I think I'm because I'm constantly playing it. Joy comes to mind. I think there are 2 things with this guy. One is that there were some songs. I think it was. What was that song? The I think it's You Said. That sounded like a Michael Jackson. That reminded me of Michael Jackson. So there were times when he sounded like almost like he's imitating Michael. There were times when he sounded like Ralph, or I'll Be Sure. And I think at the time when he came out, his vocals, his singing style was sort of, he was up against those big voices like Aaron and Dino and R. Kelly. And so that was the voice that the radio were playing, and his type of voice was fading out. And that's what when I spoke to H-Town, Shazam says he sounded hyper. He was trying to be like Ralph, while Dino was the sort of the main strong singer. But by the time they came out, the lights voice or sort of falsetto and stuff wasn't reigning as much. And so that's why Dino became the main lead singer. So I think he suffered from that as well, because you listen to it and think, is he trying to be Michael, or is he trying to be Albie Shaw or Ralph? And you know, and the radio was playing the church guys, you know, the big voices from church, and you know, he's up against Aaron Hall at this time and others. So I think that might have come in his favor. If he had come out in '90, just when Ralph was coming out, or when he came out when House Party soundtrack, I think he would have probably done a lot better. Reviews and yeah. So, but as I said, I mean, so was he getting a lot of airplay in the UK at the time when it came out.
Yeah, Joy was, like you say, on the underground R&B scene. It was just because it was underground. Then I've got to state that, you know, none of this stuff was getting played on national radio. It was only the real pop R&B hits. But anything like Joy, or it was all pirate radio, or there might be a commercial station that's got one black music radio show on a late on a Saturday night. That's where you'd hear it.
Yeah,
You know, it was down the DJs, the club DJs. They broke the records back then. You know, you'd have to go to a club to hear them tracks. But Joy was huge.
yeah. But think about it though, because I think I'll Be Sure with his sexy verses kind of suffered from the change of singing styles. You had Jodeci, at that time, around that time, H-Town. So listening to this, because he's high in a lot of the songs. It didn't seem to fit. We had Kenny Green, we had all these sort of big, strong lead singers, and I think if he was in a group, if London Jones was a group of four and then others were singing, it probably could have worked. But to have the whole album like that, I think that is what happened. It just, there were times when even light skinned artists, they did better in the 80s and very early 90s. Then it became more dark skin. The whole thing just shifted, and he might have just got caught up with that. But how would you rate this album? Because I listened to it continuously, and I'm thinking,
it sounds like an album from 1992, Nandy. Like you say, it does sound like a lot of it was recorded 92.
Probably 92.
93 went on. Yeah. They added some more mid-tempo. There's some like Jeep beat type tracks on there that don't quite work for me, and I think they were added on later on.
Yeah,
but a lot of the soul, a lot of the soulful mid-tempo tracks, they sound 91, 92 to me, and they do work with his vocal. They work amazing.
They went or were?
No, they were. I think they worked very well.
Yeah. I'm surprised if you look at the credits. He did a vocal arrangement for all for pretty much most of the song albums. Looking at the production, he worked with Tricky Stewart. He did all his vocal production. He did a lot of the lyric writing in a lot of the songs and the melody. So he did feel as if he was a complete artist, but I just thought, I don't know if even the Milli Vanilli stuff affected him. I don't know. There was just something that they probably couldn't sell. I think I look at him and think,
Silas. You mentioned the label Silas, right?
Yeah.
Out of all the artists on Silas, no, but the only artist on Silas that really did anything was Shantae Moore.
No, and Aaron Hall, the truth.
I think Shantae Moore probably sold more than Aaron Hall.
No. Because I Miss You.
I thought that debut album with Love's Taken Over.
No, that
Aaron Hall stuff was nowhere near as big as Love Taken Over.
Oh no! I Miss You was in the top 100, top 10. That
Moore was the they seem to have done really well with her.
No, Shantae Moore did well, but she was no. I mean, that album, that song was good, but it was not as big as I Miss You. And I'm even just looking at the charts. I mean, and Lewis Sal, charts. Love's Taken Over it got 19 on the R&B charts. So it wasn't. It was a nice album and stuff like that. And I'm just looking at Precious, which was her debut album. It just went gold.
Right.
But Aaron Hall's the truth. I would think that went double platinum. I thought
that album was a flop for some reason.
Oh no, goodness, no! That was that I Miss You was such a massive hit. And let me just see credits. The I Miss You peaked at number 14 of the top 100, but it was number one on the R&B charts. Um, yeah, it was. I think the Truth did double platinum or so. Um, and so that was the big no. So that was the biggest selling stuff on Silas. So for those who didn't know, Lil Sal was Jr. was he was the executive VP for MCA Urban Music. So anything from Uptown, all the R&B, all the the New Edition stuff, it was him. He was running Uptown Record, MCA, and he was also Ready for the World. He was a producer as well, and a DJ. So you'd sometimes see him do some of the remixes. My Girlie by Ready for the World, he did some of the drums and programming on that. But when he left to go to with Gerald Busby to Motown, that's when MCA's lost a lot of his push for his urban music, and actually Ready for the World, they declined after that. But anyway,
it's funny because Melvin Riley does get a credit on this album, Namdi.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on this album as like a vocals arranger or whatever on the album, one of the tracks.
So Melvin Riley, when I look at my first 10 interviews, Melvin Riley was number 6 or so. And he talked about Lil Silas Jr. He talked about how much it was a mistake. When he was around, he was big pusher of Ready for the World. But when he left, that affected Ready for the World's album sales and everything because he knew how to push. But so it's a pity for this London Jones guy because I think he had the looks, he had everything. But I just think vocally, I guess he got caught up with sounding, unless you're Michael Jackson, it was hard to carry that vocal style. And even Ralph found it a challenge to do when he came out with his second album. The music, it was really everyone out the church, from Coco to all those big church voices, both men and females. That became the dominant stuff we're listening to, and those type of light voices just didn't sell and didn't push. So, and that's an unfortunate thing for me. Listening to this album, I would say, I was gonna say, as an album, I probably would have given it a 7.5.
That's good.
I think the challenge he had with this album was that I didn't, apart from Joy, yes, but I didn't hear a song that was going to be dominant on the charts. I didn't hear a song that, if he had
which chart do you mean, the Billboard pop chart or the Billboard R&B chart?
It would have been the R&B charts that would get you into the pop charts is, as I said, that is a big thing. That's a big thing.
There was nothing popping. There was nothing for that. There was nothing like that.
I Miss You, those songs. Kissing Game was number 1 on the Billboard 100. That's Kissing Game by High Five. That was number 1, for High Five. That was their biggest selling single. It crossed over. I think with this guy, I didn't like the Stanley Brown Record Leader. Which one did Stanley did?
One of them. It's one of them.
You Said.
Mid-tempo.
Oh, that was the You Said. That was okay. That was a pity.
That's at number 5. That starts at number 15 in my chart, actually.
Yeah, you know what? I as soon as it starts, I thought it sounds like I thought it was going to be like Prince. You said you did. I was like, oh goodness, And it's a pity that I love Stanley and stuff, but I thought it was And I listened to this without looking at the credits because I didn't want to be, I didn't want to just be influenced by, here's Kyle West, he's going to be up there. But there were some songs, and I didn't realize the middleman I was thinking it sounded like a song off the Songs of Soul album. Um, and then I didn't realize, I was going to say they copied something from the Tonys, but I didn't realize that Dwayne wrote and produced it. So it kind of made sense that he just took what they were doing, one of the tracks they had for Sons of Soul, they gave it to him. Yes. But anyway, I did my top 10, but I'm not going to be great at this. Apart from my top 3, all the rest would just pretty much be, I'm just going to have songs in there because I felt that they were all equally good. They were all like in football.
How many songs would you say you really like then that you would probably keep playing?
So so the album has 15 songs. One is a remix, so it has 14 songs. I think so it has 15 songs if you want to include the remix. I think out of those 15, I think barring You Said, I think I could still listen to the rest. I just You Said was just
wow.
I could listen to the rest, but I wouldn't. There was probably which one? There was just. I mean, I like the Carl West one. It was probably. Yes, yeah. So there's a couple of songs that that really stood out. That I was like, oh, really like this stuff. And maybe it's the lyrics. Tim Beat said about half of the songs. I think there were probably 12 songs that I can listen to and then just appreciate. But it wouldn't. There's no standout track. Think about 112's debut album. There were a lot of songs that were really good, and so you can just listen to them. You're not skipping. But they had Only You, which was the one that got the clubs and really kind of knocked on the door, and had Cupid. But the rest were just middle of the road song. And I think this album was that. It had a lot of songs where I'm listening. I don't need to skip. I can listen and I'm enjoying them, but I realized that it just didn't have that big track. I know you talk about Joy, but I just think, if they had even the remix, it just wasn't a song that and probably didn't catch my attention. I didn't hear it. If I heard it on the radio, I wouldn't say, well, I want to hear that again. But if I listen to the album continuously, I can appreciate that. He says some of it reminds me of De La Van's sound. But De La Van's was, high pitched, and that not high pitched, but that kind of
I can see where Tim Beats is coming from, but the sound was different. But like I say, he had quite a high vocal. He had his own production. But I think what London Jones had as a singer, and with the lyrics and the way he portrays it, he gets very romantic, and there's almost a very deep sensitivity in some of these songs that men in general are not prepared to go. Like you say, the real masculine R&B. It was more, the sex type stuff, the bedroom type stuff. Whereas with this London, I think very deeply sensitive on some of these tracks.
So I think if you're referring to something like what makes a man, that's sort of a prime.
These are the tracks that stand out, Andy.
Yeah, that's a
these are the tracks that they'll get the ladies going.
Yeah,
give and take.
But think about it though. I'm just going to. So this album, I appreciate this album more now than I did back then. That's what Timmy Lee says. Yeah. So I'm going to R&B albums 94. So when this album came out, he was up against. So the Boyz II Men had come out with 2. My Life was out. Brandy was out. Blackstreet was out 94. This is all 94. Aaliyah's AJ Nothing Number, TLC, Jeanne, Madonna's Bedtime Stories. We had Keith Sweat, All for One, Love Supreme by Shantae Moore, Changing Faces. God, yes, I wish I could go back to 94. We had Immature. We had Shanice, Barry White, Practice What You Preach, really deep voice. Anita Baker's Rhythm of Love. We had The Best of Sade, which was big. We had songs by Luther. We had Above the Rim, and I didn't remember this. Okay, yeah, Karen White, Make Him Do Right. Elder Barge, I bought this album, Heart, Mind, and Soul. We had the Whitehead Brothers, Serious, so they had 187 and stuff. And so Functified by Brandy, Ghetto Love by Marlon Ryan's, Ex-Girlfriend, Low Key, um, Billy Lawrence, I didn't get her, Jamiroquai, Usher's debut album. I know Jamie Foxx had Pimp This, H-Town, Begging After Dark. Um, then we had Outkast and the Fugees. So that's just the flavor of '94. London Jones came out. Black Whale's Treat You Right. But that was just a small flavor of what. And then we had
Well,
James.
guess what? Now, guess what? You've named all that there that come out in '94. But here we are tonight. We picked this up. Well, I picked this album.
yeah.
Of all their group, I picked this one, mate.
No,
so
but
there you go.
So we're just. Yeah, but what we're just saying is that this is probably the competition, and was fierce. That's the music style. You forget that we still had the West Coast influence, which Teddy and Blackstreet went after, that really took the airwaves. So I think this album came out just at the wrong time. He would have done better. '94 was stacked. Ralph Tresvant got overshadowed that year. Did Ralph come out in '94 with his debut out with his sophomore album?
No, it was a year. I think it was '93. That wasn't it. It's going down. I'm sure that was '93. It's either '93 or '94. It felt like '93 to me. Might have been '94 though.
It's going down was '94. Wow.
Right, well there you go then.
You see,
Yeah.
but we're talking about the vocals now. So if he sounds like Ralph, and Ralph isn't even making it onto the charts, you can just imagine how tough it was for him. The Silas Records had Keith Washington, he had Aaron and Damien, Jesse Powell, girl group Twice. So that's just and Ralph came out January of '94, so he just didn't really. I can't remember one track off that album. And
well, there's two outstanding tracks on that, Ralph, and they're the singles. Who's the Mac and the other Jam and Lewis. It's the two Jam and Lewis tracks.
Okay, yeah, it was.
They were great records.
Who's the Mac? Okay, yeah. Anyway, so
when you love somebody, that was when you love somebody. When you need somebody, that was great.
Oh no, Sexo. Okay, so anyway,
the rest of it was going. But anyway, let's get back to this London Jones. We will get to that Ralph album. Believe me, we're going to do the Ralph albums.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, hopefully you got a chance over the last week or two to listen to the album. I was pleasantly surprised. I did think if London Jones was a group like Public Announcement, not Public Announcement, Joe Public, You've Got to Live and Learn, because they had the same Dread stuff. If he had that debut single and then he came out with the rest of the album, he would have done something. But anyway, what's my number 10? My number 10 is Flip the Script. Who did the work?
Wow.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah. I think yeah, he did look like Terrence Darby. Yeah, Flip the Script. It was just a nice little track.
Chris Tricky Stewart.
Yeah.
Chris Tricky Stewart and Sean Stephall.
Yeah, so that was definitely Flip the Script. As I said, from number 10, and I didn't go to the other one, but from number 10 to number 4, they could have been anywhere, because they were nice and stuff. Yes. Oh, melodic had you said in there. Goodness, that was probably my unfortunately least favorite song on the album. What about you, Steve? What did you?
Well, I had at 15, I had You Said, and at 14, I had Flip the Script. I weren't particularly a fan of that track either. Now, I'll be
Okay.
honest. But at number 10, I kept toying with two. I kept putting the same two tracks. I couldn't make my mind up 10 and 11, and I kept moving them back and back. And it was between Over and Over and Your Nature at number 10. And I felt that the chorus on Your Nature was just a bit more memorable, even though I really like Over and Over. So the ballady, the sense of that Your Nature track, let me just see who produced that one. That made it starting my number 10 anyway. Your Nature. I just thought that was more memorable. Again, it's another Christopher Tricky Stewart track. Thought, yeah. And like I say, those Jeep beaty mid-10, they didn't just, You Said, Flip the Script. Middleman, I enjoyed that a lot at the time, but I listened to it again, I'm like, I don't know, but Your Nature number 10 for me. I'm happy with that.
Okay. Hey, Derek from Minneapolis. Okay. Yeah, as I said, for me, the yeah, I thought Flip the Script was a nice the beat and production for that one. Number 9 was a song that the first and only song I'd heard from this guy, and I Lost for You. Um, it was, but as I said, it was released in 90. It was on the House Party 2 soundtrack that came out in 91. So you think the song was probably done in 1990 or so, and given to them, and then you wonder if most of the song, it was already done. I Lost for You. Just let me see. It had that Albie Show vibe, as he was singing, and it's just the one that has the staying power. And Lost for You at number 9 for me.
It sounds like he had the same experience as Jackie McGee. He got signed to MCA or whatever, probably 91, and he'd been sat there right up to 94, you know what I mean? He'd been sat there 4 years waiting for that debut album to drop, like Jackie did with hers, just waiting until they got round to, and by the time it come out, it was too late. They probably recorded half the album years earlier. So
yeah.
Sounds like a Jackie McGee situation. Unless we're gonna have to find this guy so we can get hold of him.
Yeah, well, when you suggested, I did look out for him, but he seemed to have.
So what was your number 9? I Lost for You.
Yeah, as I said,
I have strong memories.
Yeah, I do. I think, I think there were other songs that I liked a little bit better. Yeah. What about you?
Number 9, I went for the second single, Save Our Love, which I do really like. The remixes were far better though at the time. There's some really good remixes of that track. I like that, the video is on the beach, does sell the song a bit more as well. But I like the track, but it's just that the ones above it, below it, going down to number 1 are far stronger for me. I was, looking, I think, why did they go with Save Our Love as the second single, considering what else they could have put out? But
yeah,
what do I know?
Well, maybe, as I said, they were going for the romantic stuff, but I could imagine if I heard, I think vocally in '94, I would not have been. I mean, I can appreciate it now, some 30 years later, because I'm in a different space. But at '94, I think there was hardly anything. I think there was hardly anything on this album in '94 that I would have just been like, that would have cut through the stuff that was out there. So you guys, about I Lost for You, that came out in '91. So we're thinking about it. So I'm looking at it as a '94 track, and I think, and I think because I'd heard it for such a long time, and it's the only familiar song, and I thought others on there that just really got to me. Number 8 for me was a song that I put down. Okay, this was where the album was like, okay, we need to find our audience. Oh, let's our Honey Love has come out. Knocking Boots has come out. Let's get our own version of it. Baby, get on shelves tonight. I'm like, oh, this is the Melvin Riley one. This is the Melvin Riley one. So it felt as if, man, we need
Baby,
to.
get yours tonight.
Yeah, I put down H Town R. Kelly's Honey Love. You know, we needed to. we needed to.
It's a killer track.
It
Killer
definitely
track
is.
for me.
It definitely is. Yeah. So my number 8 was. He says, "What song does Lost for You sample? What Janis songs?" Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I think no, anyway. But baby, get yours tonight. Yeah,
Baby,
that was
get yours tonight.
yeah. As I said as I said earlier, from number 8, from number 10 to number 4, the songs would I like. As I said, this album is a nice solid 7.5.
Imagine saying to your wife or your girlfriend, "Hey, baby, let's get yours tonight. Get up there, get yours tonight."
Oh,
hey, how do you feel about that? Hey, hey baby, you're gonna get yours tonight.
So, what did you get for your 8?
Oh, number 8. Listen, I wish this was higher up, and I do really like this track a lot. But I just like the others a whole lot more. I Lust for You is at number 8 for me.
Okay.
So we are kind of, it's still in the top 10. I still rate it highly, but it made my number 8. Again, it's a very deeply sensitive track. This, it's gone about some girl. He's really, we've all been there, guys. You know what I mean? We've all been there with that. You know, looking back with that girl you had your eyes on, you lusted after her. So I get it. I understand, you know what I mean? And some of you have been left frustrated because you didn't get what you wanted, and others, you got lucky, you know what I mean? So I get
it. So my number 7, it sounds like a song from Johnny's Prerogative album. You know, Giving My All to You? Giving My All.
Oh, yes.
So,
I know it's what you say. It sounds like a Jam and Lewis.
Yeah, Gave and Take.
No, it's a killer track. It's a killer.
Yeah.
At least you got it in your top 10. Though.
Yeah, Gave and Take. I listen. I said that sounds like Johnny Gill. It's almost, it felt as if, man, we need to find what's going on. So it's because the Prerogative album had already come out, and they took that, but. Yeah, he says come back to me, but they probably stole all this from Jam and Lewis. That's why it does sound like that Janet Come Back to Me.
Well, no, the guy who produced it was a tailor, Zane Giles, who during the 80s he was doing that sound. To his credit, he was doing that from about 84 onwards. He did a lot of big soul artists like your Freddie Jacksons, that kind of sound.
Okay.
So I know what you're saying. It does sound like Jam and Lewis.
Yeah.
You know, Vesta, he Vesta Williams stuff as well. He did some great stuff on Vesta Williams. So, well, I was surprised to see his name on this. It was like, whoa, it's a Tyler sounding like Jam and Lewis.
What did you get for number 7?
Number 7 is, like you say, that really deeply sensitive, what makes a man? What makes a man? I mean, I look back to like when I was 1994, me as a person listening to this album, and I kind of wanted to be that guy back then when it come up. I really, you know, and I look now so far onwards, 25 year onwards, and I'm like, gosh, you know, he's just, time moves on, doesn't it? That romanticism and that sensitive. it gets kicked out of you, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It gets kind of somewhere kicks you down the road a bit, you know. But I was that guy back then, you know what I mean?
You were that guy.
I was that guy. Yeah, I don't know.
My number 6 is another song that when it starts off, I thought, oh, this is a Babyface song. And I don't know if you know, it has that sort of, if you think of Babyface after he left when he stopped with LA, and think of if you were to listen to Wait to Exhale, the type of harmony, melodic harmony that he uses, the thread throughout his album. This number 6 that I picked, I had to look at the credits. Say, did Babyface do something on this? Your Nature.
Your Nature. That was a Chris.
It was Chris Chick, yeah.
No, are you thinking of that guy? Who did we interview last year? Who worked on Waiting to Exhale?
Keith Anders.
Yeah. Are you thinking of that as well? Or are you thinking of properly a Babyface?
No, it's like a Babyface because there was a Babyface sound.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, Big Mike. Okay. Stevie talked about your back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe we'll look into it for next year. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Big shout to Big Mike.
Okay, Melody had Baby I'm Yours Tonight, and Tim Lee has
stayed late on as well. He was there till he stayed late on till after 2:00.
So what did you put for your number 6?
Number 6, I had Baby Get Yours Tonight. Bit higher up for me, Namdi. It could have been further up that. It really could. But I think what had happened was, since I've been listening to the album over the last few weeks, some of the other tracks have really stormed ahead of it that I'm really into. That just sound better now. But again, it's a killer track for me. That Baby Get Yours Tonight. Definitely be, if I was putting like a 90s slow jam tape together, that'd be on it. Easily. That would easily be on it now. Okay. So, yeah.
Little Man OG said he worked for an army station in high school and he had a copy of the House Party movie. Yeah. Lost for You. It was one of his favorites to this day. Yeah.
Hey, big respects to Little Man, the OG, for that. See, it's good. I'm happy that, you know, we've got a few turn up tonight for this album. I was a bit unsure. Thought it might be a dead night, but no, you've a lot of you've turned out tonight for this album. So big respects to you.
So on number 5 for me, I'm even thinking, should I have gone high with this one? But
top 5. That's good, mate. That's good.
But at number 5 for me, it was probably, you know, we had Ralph's Sensitivity, but I'm listening to. I mean, normally, you know, I think sometimes, you know, I'm one of those guys who will listen to an album and listen to like hip hop. To me, I can't really, you know, like Keith Murray's rapping, I can't really think about what he's saying. So what I do get is how he flows, how he brings the words together. I couldn't tell you what Biggie's saying. So for me, most of the time, I'm listening to an album and listening to how the voice and the lyrics are going together, but I'm not paying attention to the lyrics. But this is probably one of the songs that I'm like, wow, the lyrics stand out because he's saying something, and you know, it was one of the 2 Kyle West productions, What Makes a Man. I thought it was just like, wow, really going in detail, you know, a version of Sensitivity, but something that he's saying, you know, stuff that Andrew Tate probably wouldn't appreciate today, but I thought, you know, What Makes a Man such a really, really inspirational song. I wonder if he had even started off with that, you know, like how Ralph did Sensitivity, if it had gotten some airplay, who knows? Because as I said, this by this time we were pumping and grinding. we were on the down low. If things were different, the way you know, we were, you know, you know, we were feeling, the song, the singing was different, the begging was different, and I think his approach to music was a little late, you know. Even Clarell Henderson from Kids at Work, he says, "Look, sounded like Ralph. I couldn't change. I was told change in order to fit in to where we are, but he just didn't." Yeah. So what makes a man? Carl West production. You know, it's a pit. When I interviewed Carl West, I didn't know of all these people. I didn't really get to ask him about, you know, these people and stuff like that. He was even surprised people even remember some of these songs. Okay.
I was going to say all them questions we put together for Kyle West, and I forgot about this.
Forgot about, yeah.
He'd probably forgot about, you know, I didn't, you know, forgot about the stuff he did on here. I thought he'd done one track, he did two, but he would. Yeah, he probably got a story about him.
And he did two different types of tracks as well. He did two different types of tracks as well. Yes, but that was it for me. What makes a man? That's such a beautiful track.
Great choice for number 5. That Namdis higher than mine. Just picks it higher than mine anyway. I put it at number 7.
You put it.
We've got a late contender here.
her camera's not on.
She got the hour mixed up. Oops.
Yeah, her camera's not on yet. Wait for you to get your camera on, but we'll Steve, we'll be here.
We'll have a little mid break before Miss J joins us. Then, what we've got coming up next week?
Oh, we've I can't remember now. I can't. Oh, okay. Next week, guys, it is "Make It Last Forever," the album, and we do have Miss Jackie McGee, who is going to be our special guest reviewing the album that she was part of the making of.
Turn that one down.
Oops.
So, okay.
Sorry.
Oops. Okay.
Better late than never, Miss J.
I had to try to make it happen. Y'all won't believe the craziness of today. Oh.
Okay.
I live in Breaking Bad, y'all. I live in a Breaking Bad area,
Oh dear.
How y'all doing?
No problem. Well, we're doing fine. We're just we were just talking about the album Gate, and then we're at number 5. But just as you were settling in, we're just letting everyone know that yes, one of my top 3 favorite albums of all time next week, Make It Last Forever. We're going to go through the 8 songs, and Miss Jackie McGee is going to be with the 3 of us next week because she sang on half those songs, did the backgrounds and everything. She was there with, you know, Teddy and her were best, you know, they were in the group together before he brought her to with Keith. So she's going to tell us stories about the making of the album that you've not heard. So that will be next week. So tune in for that. I'm excited for that. So Jay, what are your? We've talked in length about our thoughts about this album. What did you think of London Jones?
So, I'm gonna try not to be mean, y'all, but I thought I was gonna love it because I liked his voice, but then it was just too much sex for me. Like it was a lot of, you know, do me baby type of songs on here, and I couldn't get into them, and it kind of reminded me of The Weeknd, and I'm just like, oh no, can we talk about something else? I was expecting more because I liked his voice. So I'm like, I get it.
So what did you think of his voice? Because in '94, no, even Ralph struggled in '94. Hardly anyone, even I'll be sure, struggled in with his third album. Well, his third album in '94. Most guys weren't sounding like that anymore. It was the other. So what is so you said you liked his voice, but that voice wasn't really.
See, the voice doesn't. One thing about me, I don't really think I follow the like trends a lot, but I like the soft voices. Like I love voices like Ralph Tresvant, of course Michael. I love that type of voice. So when people were like going to another route, I was like, I'll be sticking to the same thing for a very long time. So if the phase is out, I'm still there. Like I you know how people wasn't on the BBD second album, the sophomore album. I liked it. I understand it wasn't as great as the Poison, but there were a lot of tracks on there that I still liked. So like the voice was okay with me. It's just the substance, the material, and it seemed very amateur, like the writing style. But then some of the songs I could tell, my ear, I can hear like a combination of multiple songs. Like there was like 2 Janet tracks and a Shantae Moore track blended on one song on his album. So like I could hear what he was trying to do, but the sexual stuff is really in too. Still, that never went anywhere. I think it got worse. But
okay. So do you want to go from 10 down to 5?
I'll tell you how out of whack I am today. No. I am not regular day today. But where did you guys leave off?
Number 5.
I couldn't even. You know how Stevie be like, I just couldn't listen to it.
Wow.
Or I did listen to it, but I just couldn't rate them because I was like, okay, I'm gonna look at the list. I couldn't rate them. That's bad. I was just like this a lot. Like that's been my week. That's been my day. Like all week. Like where am I gonna put this song? Like, what am I doing with this one? I know 2 that I do like, but 2. Sorry, Stevie.
Listen,
you
had 2 or 3 weeks to prepare for this.
Maybe 2 weeks. I struggled every day trying.
Wow.
I did.
What did you have at number 5, Stevie?
No, let's get to Miss J. It's like she's saying there's too many songs about sex on here. I kind of, there's plenty of other songs that are not about sex.
You said there's plenty of songs that are not about sex?
There's a track called What Makes a Man. There's a track called You're So Special. There's a track called Love Means We. There's a track called Joy.
Joy was the one. Let me shut up. I do like that one. I do like Joy, but it just felt like Love Means okay.
I thought you'd have picked up what I picked up about this album, and I said this with Namdi a bit early on, in terms of being very deeply sensitive and romantic. I think this guy's got it beyond sex.
I didn't think so. I didn't think it was genuine.
You didn't think it was genuine?
No. And see, I didn't think, I was expecting to like him, because I heard the song Joy, and there's like two different versions of it, I believe. There was like, that's the one on the soundtrack, right? It was 2 different versions. And so that was the song I did like. But then it was a lot of like, rock with your references, like Bobby Brown references. It was heavy on the bump and grind, y'all.
Are you sure you listened to the right album, Miss?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I mean, all right. I Lust for You and Baby Get Yours Tonight are the 2 obvious sex songs on here, but the rest of it,
probably the only one.
Yeah, the rest of it really isn't.
Maybe
you've not really listened to the album. I don't. How much have you listened to it?
I did, and I listened to it for days.
Wow.
Days. And
okay.
Really
well, it'd be interesting to see what. Let's be interested to see what 5 tracks you can pick then, if you can pick 5 tracks.
Is he playing it right now? Yeah, that's what.
What was that song? I'm trying to.
I'll tell you what, listen,
Yeah,
it just
Dave,
shows
what
you,
was
innit?
that
It
song?
just shows you tonight how different men and women are. It's a perfect example of what you're seeing. How different we
I don't,
are.
and I don't think we think love is the same thing either. Because and then if I was younger and listened to this, I might have felt differently. But now listening to it with the tainted, suspicious brain that I have, I'm thinking like, you know how you always say, "What you talking about, Willis?"
Well, you said two words there. You said tainted and suspicious. So
Yeah.
I feel for you there, Miss J, coming out with things like that. I really do. Tainted and suspicious. I wonder what corrupted your mind.
I feel like every song was about the same thing.
No,
Except for
definitely not. Definitely not. Let's get some lyrics out here. Let me get some lyrics out.
What you gonna get out? What makes a man lyrics?
Hey baby, before you go, I just want to let you know just how special you are to me. I've never told you. There you go. I never knew loving was so good till I found you. What's sexual about that?
That could be. He ain't no bumping the ground. It was so good till he found her.
Miss J.
A lot of times loving don't mean from the heart. A lot of times loving means loving.
What's wrong with a bit of sexual Quiet Storm ballads anyway? What's the issue with that?
It was a lot of them. I feel like it was a lot. It was a lot. I'm a PG. I'm PG-13, y'all. I don't even. I'm lying, but no, I am and I'm not. Like it was just I wanted more from him. I was expecting like more. With that voice, I was excited. When I heard Joy, I was excited. I like to say, let me see the lyrics. Because one of them had like, stop the love you say would be your own. I love that. When I'm like, I could hear his Jackson references. I hear the Bobby Brown references. Like I could tell he liked some of the same artists I like based on some of his lyrics. Then I was like, are they forcing this man to write this? Who wrote these lyrics? Are they forcing him to sing this way? Because it didn't just seem, I don't know the guy, but it just didn't seem like it was really him. I don't know.
Okay. Well, like I say, it's interesting to get your thoughts. I'm shocked, I'm surprised, but that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. You know?
So what did you? Did you get your number 5?
I've not said it yet. I got You're So Special, number 5. That them lyrics I was just reading out there, and I think it's a very special record.
Let me see.
Produced by London Jones and Atala Zane Giles. Whenever we're together, I just can't believe it's true. My mind is in another world, girl. It's just me and you. Wow. That's very romantic, Jay. Look at the eyes. I know them eyes, Namdi.
Hey. You know my eyes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what they mean, huh? You know me so well. Okay?
Yeah. Whenever I glance into those eyes, now I lose control. I love you so much, baby. You've got my heart and soul. Yeah, you see.
So that was so that was your number 5. So, Jay, did you have anything written down for number 5?
Okay. So I do have You're So Special. I have that it starts off with elements that are from another one of his songs. To me, this sounds like another one of the songs on the album, but I'm all over the place today, y'all. Forgive me. But so I put it's the same sound from Babyface and Pebbles' duet, Love Makes Things Happen. There's something in that song that, like that. I don't know where that came from originally, but I don't know if Babyface started it or if it came somewhere else or if it's called something, but I know it when I hear it. And I think of Babyface and Pebbles because that's the first place I heard it. But yeah, so that's what I can hear the Babyface track on this. And I don't know if that was any kind of inspiration for it, but yes, You're So Special is one of the ones I wrote down notes for because I thought it was more.
That's a good pick. That's a good
more
pick.
of a good song.
Yeah.
Oh, so Chimby says it samples the deals.
Okay, is that the same beat? The same? Okay.
I didn't realise that. I'll be honest, I didn't realise that at all. But fair play to you, Chin Beats, for pointing that out.
I know I heard Babyface elements there.
Okay. Number 4 for me. So I heard this song first, and I thought this sounds familiar, but I couldn't picture it. And it wasn't until then I knew it was a song from Songs of Soul. And as I said, I didn't look at the credits when I was listening to the song because I didn't want to just be biased and pick songs based on the producers, which is something that I could easily do. But I kept listening, and then realized that it sounds like Gangsta Groove of the Sons of Soul album. And then I just realized when I looked at the credits that it was written and produced by Dwayne Wiggins. So Middleman was my number 4. As I said, because it felt familiar and I didn't make the connection that actually it got Dwayne writing and producing it. And my assumption is that this was probably something they didn't make the Tony album and they just gave it to him. But I felt like I just loved the I just loved the as I said, it could be the familiarity that actually that was something from an album that I really enjoyed. But but Middleman was my number 4. Yeah, it just sounds like it and stuff. And I said Tony. I also set the whole funk and groove to it as well.
I remember playing playing that a lot back at the time.
Back in the day?
Yeah, good mid-tempo track. You know, it was different from the rest of the album. It was different.
So River Mandela was saying that the album is nice, but the artist gives a Jackson vibe. And in '94, the vibe was more hip hop and streets. Jodeci intro, Aaron Hall, R. Kelly, D'Angelo. So with the sounds of those early to mid '90s, and it's what we were saying at the beginning of the show, that one of the things that we think this album was probably done 90 to 91, and then they were like, okay, we need to add some updated songs, but vocally he was pretty much out of date. From only Michael and Prince could still pull it off because they transcended the music, but vocally, it was just not what we were listening to. Everyone came out to the church. Everyone had those big voices, and the facade, and it was just different. And then also, he was just too light skinned. I'm sorry, light. His vocals were just too light. Not his complexion, his vocals. But I don't even think. I think there was also a backlash against light skinned artists as well. I think I'll Be Sure felt that. I think most of the artists that came out were a lot more darker towards that time as well. Tell me who was a light skinned artist that did well, male, from 93 onwards.
Wow. Besides Prince, huh?
I mean, we had Christopher Williams, but Christopher Williams had that very strong, dark, heavy voice. But light-skinned artists, I think there was something, there was something pushed against that in the mid 90s. But I don't know if anyone can think of. Maybe I'm missing. I mean, Chico DeBarge, but they were mixed race.
They still count. But Chico was later though, like
mid
90s. Yeah,
he came out during. Yeah, he was in and around those mid to early 90s. But that was just my thought, that it was just the look and the vocals just affected it. But anyway, Stevie, what's your number 4?
Before
Donald Jones is a light skin.
Before I get into that, I'm going to give you a bit of there's something that's been floating around on social media. It's a top 30 chart of the top 30 prettiest female R&B artists of all time, which is very subjective. Doesn't even include my favourite for some reason. I don't know who's compiled this. But,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's got Jill Scott at number 19. Jill Scott's at number 19. Chaka Khan at number 13. But, you know, bear in mind, this is the prettiest female R&B artist of all. I don't see anybody from any of them ladies from Escaping here. They've probably got that one right. Fantasia at number 27.
Oh, dang.
I don't know. Is Ashanti pretty? At
She
number
was.
4.
I mean,
Number 4. Ashanti's at number 4. She had a bit of. I always felt she had a bit of a miserable face. But again, I'm being subjective.
Okay.
Just me. She never smiled. I never saw her smile. Did you ever see her smile? Ashanti, yeah.
Yeah.
She laughs all the time. Her smile's always that she's a Fran Drescher laughing singer. Yes.
Is she the 4th prettiest R&B singer of all time? A female R&B singer?
Okay, I wouldn't say that.
I thought that was just the mid 90s. Are you talking about?
Not of all time. Of all time. Who else we got in here?
I've never.
Mary J. Blige is at number 20. Number 1 is Whitney Houston. Number 2 is Janet Jackson. Number 3 is Kelly Rowland. Rihanna's at number 5. Maya at number 6. Sade at number 7. Gosh, Sade's. Oh,
yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah. So that anyway, I don't know if anyone's seen that. But Jodie Watley is not even in it. How could they not have? You're going to tell me a prime Jodie Watley in 1987 ain't pretty? What's going on here? What are you talking about, Willis?
So that's Stevie's favorite artist.
No, but she's one of the prettiest.
Who do you?
Jodie Watley.
Who's your favorite? Is it?
My gosh.
Is it Jodie Watley or Madonna? Who's your all-time favorite female?
Listen, I get Whitney Houston number 1. I get that. Again,
right.
In 87, Whitney Houston was stunning. She was stunning. Janet Jackson.
So Stevie, but
yeah, Vanessa.
Who was your favorite?
Vanessa
Is it?
Williams not even in it? I forgot about her.
Who's
she was hot.
And she was Miss Universe, Miss America. Who was your favorite? Whitney, Madonna, or Jodie?
What in terms of looks or just as an artist?
No. You because music-wise, because I know you're a massive Jodie fan, but I don't know. But I know you're a massive Madonna fan as well.
I was a massive 80s Madonna fan, not a recent stuff.
Okay.
Her 80s stuff is just unbelievable. But Jodie Watley, I suppose, she's been for me more consistent throughout the 80s, 90s. I don't know. They're both up there for me. It's a hard one to pick. That it is a hard one to pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pharoah Lawless said that I'll Be Sure made it hard for me. I know he was in a group before in the 90s. Anyway.
Right. Number 4 for me. Again, I'll read some lyrics out.
Number 4.
You know, girl, I know it must be weird for a guy like me to be so sensitive, but hey, I'm just being careful. But you know, I always long to hold you. I need to be wrapped up in your arms. Will you be the only one in my life? Wow. This is the right time for focus. I want to spend that time with you. I'm so afraid to wonder if it's real and you'll be true. Whew. Those are deep, deep, sensitive lyrics. I was in 1994, as I was saying to Namdi earlier, Miss J. I was that guy. What he's saying, I was that guy.
You were Mr. Sensitivity?
Back then, yeah, in 1994.
And what made you turn into
This is probably why this album appeals to me, because back then I was listening to some of these songs and it just resonated with me because I wanted to be that all true man.
Okay.
Mr. Alexander O'Neill.
Right.
Yeah, the all true man.
Okay.
You know. But I think I look back now and I think, my gosh, how was I that guy? Like you say,
Yeah, how are you that guy? Because now you're very Simon Cowell on the podcast.
That's on the podcast, Mr. Podcast.
Okay.
You know, I was back then though, I was a bit of you could say in the clubs, I was a bit of a bad boy, I was a bit of a naughty boy.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, how are you a naughty boy, but then you want to be Mr. Sensitivity? I don't understand how it works.
Contradiction is unbelievable. It was like half and half fighting with myself.
Jekyll and Hyde.
This is the issue with guys. They want to be this all true man, but what they wake up with in the morning every morning, that urge they have every morning, betrays them.
To be a dog.
Not be a dog. They just want to do something about that urge. It's very difficult for a man. Very difficult.
But anyway,
some of the guys watching will know exactly what I'm talking about. How difficult it is. You know?
I got
well,
Namdi, I just thought about it. You asked about the light-skinned guys in the 90s, like 94. Okay, it was 3 of them. Maybe because I'm a Jackson fan, but 3T. They were like for a certain age group. I don't know. Maybe if you consider them R&B, but I did because Michael produced them, and they were.
Yeah, no, you can't. There were the 3 Jackson kids who came out with a gold album, but then that was it. They had Y and tell. What was the other one? Tell me. I can't remember what.
They had anything.
Anything. I can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was pretty much riding off the back of Michael with and stuff. But it's different. Melodic just became a Halftime Chat member, and we have just Trailer Ren. His interview starts on Monday, but it's fully up there. And then Rodney B of Troop. His full interviews up for the members because he spoke. Anytime I ask any of them about the Deep album, Stevie, it becomes almost as if they go into deep depression. It's just the most heartful thing when you ask. So I said, "So what about the Deep album?" He was like, "Yeah, that was the worst time for us when it should have been the best time." And then he speaks about when Alan and Steve went with Dimitri and split up, and how that almost was a big. So the whole time, that whole Deep album, getting MC Hammer's brother to manage them caused a rift, destroyed their recording career. It was So that Deep album, which is a celebratory album for fans, for them is almost like the biggest regrets of what was going on in their lives during that time.
Such a good album as well.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, number 4 was Give and Take. That was my number 4. I didn't actually say number.
Okay, where did I have Give and Take? Oh, I had it at number 7. Yeah. Miss J, what did you get for number 4?
My list means nothing, okay? But
don't say that. Don't say that. You already picked a really good song for number 5.
Well, this list makes no sense because makes no sense. So I have number 4. It's contradictory, but I picked because it made me think of Bobby Brown. And that's Lust for You.
Wow. It's contradictory. Fair play to you. It's a great song.
It made me think about it.
Okay. My number 3 reminds me of Love Takes Time. You remember that from
Ralph
Tresvant?
Okay.
Yeah, Love Takes. It had Casey singing chorus hooks. So produced by Cal West, and is it Little Miss Thing? Yeah, Little Miss Thing has that type of orchestral type of stuff, and that's New Jack Carl West in it. So that's number 3 for me. Little Miss Thing, music and lyric produced by Carl West. Carl West, Break It Down. So yes, that's my number 3. I mean, what did you make of the track?
No, I did it wrong.
You asking me?
Yes, yes. Did he?
Well, it was at my number 3. Believe it or not.
Oh, yours as well.
I'll be totally honest about the track. I don't think his voice fits the song. No, sorry, fits the production.
No,
but the production is incredible. The way it starts before the beat kicks in, that Kyle West introduction sound, and the way he ends it, the way he fades it out, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
And that new Jack Lady Bex and his production sound, just incredible.
Yeah. So I liked it, as you said. I liked the production and stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't. His
voice
vocally just did. There was
really. But the song it worked. Song's all right.
But that's what I was talking about with Ralph when he did the Love Takes Time. I think he had KC doing backing vocals. He had I think it was I can't remember who else was in there. He had Terry and Monica, so he had the Uptown stuff, and I thought that should have been Ralph's debut single. Well, that's a different discussion around that. But I just felt that was such a classic song. But yeah, Little Miss Thing. Loved the production, loved Kyle West, and yes, thought it was a real good track. That's my number 3, but same as your number 3. Jay, did you get a number 3?
Okay, so I just said it wrong, but okay, so number 3, I think I have it mixed. I have Love Means We, but Love Means We was the one that reminds me of Bobby Brown. Lust for You was the one, and the reason why I picked that one, Lust for You, was Shantae Moore. It was like the Shantae Moore what was that? Shantae Moore song, It's All Right, mixed with Come Back to Me, Janet Jackson, and Janet Jackson's Someday Is Tonight. That's why I picked that song. But number 3 was Love Means We. That's the one that has the Bobby Brown Rock With You references in it. So that's why Lust
No, yeah. So that song reminds, Rock With You. Yes, it does. It and I think I wrote that down. So that was Angela Wimbush. No, I wanna rock with you, lady. All night. So that was Love with and that was written and produced by Angela Wimbush.
Oh yeah, and then
Love Means We. No, that wasn't hers. It was. I think it was.
Yeah, Love Means We's Angela.
Yeah,
Wimbush.
it was hers. It's
Angela
like Wimbush.
Yeah, sounds nothing like Rock With You.
It has elements of it.
I'll tell you later what it sounds like. I'll tell you exactly what it sounds like.
Okay, tell us exactly.
Yes.
You're gonna tell us exactly what it sounds like.
But I'll tell you what, Miss J, I'm intrigued by what you're wearing this evening, as I always am.
Really?
And I feel like I should be selecting an apple or a banana or some grapes or a banana or an orange or a pineapple.
I'm giving you Chiquita banana vibes today.
I'm feeling like you've got like a fruit basket on your head.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Fruit basket, you say?
A fruit basket. Very
sir.
Quite striking fruit basket on your head.
Oh, thank you. It was let me help you get on camera and put a look together. Look.
Well, you've got the matching top and the head attire, so fair play to you.
Thank you.
So you had Love Means We at number 3.
Love Means We.
Right. Namdi then, number 2.
Okay. Yeah, so number 2 for me, and I would say that the who did this one? What did I put down for this? Yeah, in the mid 90s, Love Jones was, it had Neil Long in it and Lawrence Tate. It's amazing that they don't make films like that anymore. Had an amazing soundtrack, and when this particular track starts off, it gives me that type of vibe, and it's so my second track is "Save Our Love," Love just the arrangements and the vocals and everything in there. Save Our Love was number two for me. The whole vibe of that track really was something that I really appreciate. And as I said, it just brought me back to that time.
Are you gonna play it?
Dive the loving, dive the loving.
The Jackson.
And
version,
actually,
right?
because it's what is it? Which are you saying it's what is it sample on the Jackson?
Isn't he saying "Stop the love you save" in that song?
Oh well, he's saying stop the loving.
Okay. Yeah. So
Save our love, save our love. Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Oh, what was that? Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. I can't remember whose song. Anyway, Save Our Love. I actually do like how the album starts off. Then you said, and I'm like, oh no, and then he picks up again. But anyway, number two for me, second favorite song on the album was Save Our Love.
Wow.
What about you, Stevie?
Stevie said, "Wow."
Love takes time.
No, it's a good track. But I've just worked out that what you've left out your top 10, and I'm just like, why? But anyway, we'll get to that later. If this was 1994 and back in my clubbing days, I keep saying that, then this would have been number one. But that's the single cover for Joy. There was like, gosh, how many mixes are on this? There must be about 10 mixes on. There's 2 CD singles, about 10 mixes on each. This is one of them, but it's not.
You have the single. You bought the single and the album.
The album came out. There was two CD singles of this with like different mixes on, and there's also 2 CD singles of the one that Namdi just picked with different mixes on as well. I think the remixes are better than the album version, but Joy's at number 2. This 1994 being my number 1. So I do think it's an outstanding track. I love this very much, but it's been picked by something else, which we'll get onto a bit very, very short.
Okay. Melodic had Joy Extended.
The extended mix is amazing. I think it's on here. It is on this. Joyful Club vibe, the joyous extended vibe on the CD single. It's an amazing mix. So what did you?
Was that with the rap,
Miss J?
So my number 2 is Save Our Love.
You've got it number 2 as well.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Number 2 as well, because of course, I wanted to sing "Stop the love you save may be your own." That's what I was thinking when I first heard it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Yeah.
That one grabbed me. That's why I was expecting to hear more of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You didn't like that song as much?
Okay.
I did, but I didn't have as high as you two. But I had it number 9.
Okay.
But I do like the track.
Okay.
One of my favorite ones on the album, actually.
Wow.
Save a look. Okay, let me go from 10 down to 1. At number 10, I had Flip the Script. At number 9, I had, let me go for my list here. Where's number 9? Number 9 was I Lost For You. Number 8, Baby Get Yours Tonight. Number 7, Gave and Take. Number 8 was, number 6 is Your Nature. Number 5 is What Makes a Man. Number 4 was Middleman. Number 3 was Little Miss Thing. Number 2 was Save Our Love. And number 1 for me is a song that it's hard, and I think I was just singing it throughout the day, over the last couple of days, because it stands out. And I would say not because it was one of the only 2 singles on the album, because I didn't really hear it back when it came out. It's just that it's from listening to the album today, and I haven't even seen the video. But Joy, original one, because that just keeps going and on and on in my head. So the original Joy, I didn't like the remix that's on the album. I just thought it was just too much. I thought the original one was just,
Better.
just nice and special. So number one for me was Joy. Thinking about Joy, and yeah.
Nice, good pick. Outstanding pick.
Yes.
Outstanding pick.
Melodic had just so
Can't
special. That feels good. That has the deals to occasion sounds on that. Okay. Tiffany had Save Our Love. And yeah, which was my number 2, but yeah, high up. Yes. Stevie, what about you?
Number 10, I had Your Nature. Number 9, I had Save Our Love. Number 8, I had I Lust for You. Number 7, What Makes a Man. Number 6, Baby Get Yours Tonight. Hey, baby. Get yours tonight, hey. We're just saying, imagine saying that to your girlfriend or your missus, Miss J. Baby, hey, baby. You're going to get yours tonight. I don't know how that'd go down. Anyway, let's move on. Number 5, You're So Special. Number 4, Give and Take. Outstanding track. Number 3, outstanding production from Kyle West. Little Miss Thing. Number 2, My Clubbing Years. Memories, Great Memories. Joy. And number 1, this has been a late number 1 for me. Only recently, it was one of my favourites growing up, but it's got to number 1, and it goes 1988. There's a little known track by a very quite famous Scottish female singer called Kina. And right at the end of that album, there's a song called Fire and Rain, and it's written and produced by Angela Wimbush, who also produces my number 1 today on London Jones, the very piano groove led. I know what you were saying about Bobby Brown, but this has got Angela Wimbush's signature production sound all over it. If any, please go and buy Angela Wimbush's 1994 album. I've recently rediscovered that. It's got Chucky Booker on it, amongst other things, but that's a great album. But should we read some lyrics? More lyrics. Just like 1 and 1 makes 2, to make love so right, it takes me plus you. So before you walk away, let me lay something on your mind. Hey? So my number 1 is Love Means We by London
Means
Jones.
Me. No, so there was that when he's singing.
Sings the lines as well. There's an echo coming off us, but
yeah,
it's a when
he's singing, there's the elements of.
Didn't put in your top 10, Andy. You didn't put in your top 10. Miss J did. She got a top 5.
No, that was number 7. But that's what I mentioned. It was number 7, but it has elements of Rock With You, but it says I want to rock, but not the chorus, but the verses.
Well, please listen to Kina Easton after this podcast. Fire and Rain. I'll put the link in our podcast group.
Yeah. So I'm not doubting that, but as I said, the way he sings the verses is just like when Bobby was singing the verses in Rock With You. So hence that's why you when you listen to that, you're like, oh, that sounds like Rock With You, but not the chorus and not the sample of music, but it's just how he was singing. They both sing the verses. He was singing like Bobby's I Rock With You.
You could literally do a DJ mix one into the other with the Kina Easton at this London Jones. But it does sound very 80s, the track. I'll give that. It does sound very 80s. It doesn't sound 90s, but I think it's an outstanding track.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, so overall, what are you giving this album?
I think what you said before, 7.5, given the faults on it, that's a fair score. I would agree with that, Nandi. It's not a killer album. It has its faults. It has its tracks that you could skip, but like you say, the good tracks on it are really, really good. Yeah, and I just thought when I punched his name in YouTube, I thought there's no interviews with this guy. The album's there to listen to. there's the odd videos, and I just thought, if we can never get to interview this guy, at least let's do a review. So there's something there for generations to look back on. You know, Gen Z might discover joy. Gen Z they might start doing reels on it on TikTok and all that. And at least we'll have this that they can look on YouTube and go, wow, somebody actually talked about him. So I just wanted that there as a marker. So at least I've got
DJ
that
All Day,
now.
you gave it a 6.5. Anyone else want to give a rating of the album? And he said DJ All Day
Hold on a
said
minute,
ran
we've
this
not
into
actually
the ground.
said what a number one is yet.
You don't need my list. My list. You don't need my list. Do you want?
Well, you've given us 5, 4, 3, and 2. You might as well give us your number one if you have a number one, Miss J.
I do. Okay, I'm gonna start from 5 since that's where I jumped in. Okay, is that okay? So 5, You're So
Go
Special.
ahead.
4, Lust for You. 3, Love Means We. 2, Save Our Love. 1, Joy. So me and Nambi actually agree more than once.
No, I had a feeling you'd pick that.
Yeah. And you know what? When I saw the title, even though it doesn't sound anything like it, you know how Nambi sometimes sings a song that has nothing to do with what you're talking about? I wanted to sing
No, I don't know about that.
The Blackstreet song Joy that was Michael Jackson, co-wrote. When I see that word go out, I'm always thinking, joy, joy. I want to sing that song, but I do love this Joy also. And that's one of my nicknames too, Joy. So he's talking about me. No.
Okay.
Yeah, as I said, it's just timing, and we'll probably, it's just timing and probably a good label to be on, but also a bad label to be on, and then MCA just folded by mid-90s. They folded. They didn't sustain it after, from Guy to Uptown. They just folded everyone. Mary left Uptown and went to Geffen Records. Interscope absorbed most of the R&B stuff. So so it's just a pity how Uptown, Jody Watley, Jackie, they all got dropped around this time as well. It's just a pity how they just did. I saw a video and it had Doug Morris and Jimmy Iovine talking about how they realized that if they wanted to become the biggest label, they had to get black music. So Jimmy went to the West, bought all the Death Row, they bought Cash Money, they bought Def Jam, and then that's how they grew to become the biggest record label in the world through those labels. And they didn't care what was being said as long as it was making money. So all the gangster rap that was Snoop and those guys who were degrading women, talking about killing and murdering, stealing, really sowing poison within the black community. It was making universal money. They didn't mind spending millions on that. But all the music, the R&B music that was talking about love and encouragement, those projects got dried up. So it's a pity that these labels have made their money off the back of the black community spilling out disruptive music, but that's how, and so that's unfortunate that's how the industry just shifted, and all this stuff like London Jones and all these artists like Jody Watley that was singing inspirational love and really good music, it wasn't going to sell, and so they just cut everyone dry. And they flooded the market with raunchy, crazy stuff. That's been the death of black music when it got bought out, And so it's always disappointing to look and see. But here we are. We can still celebrate the good stuff, but you can understand why London Jones himself didn't really get a shot. If he was singing and rapping about sex and all that stuff that R. Kelly was doing, or what H-Town were doing, hey, he probably would have had a better shelf life. But that was the way of the business back then. So Stevie, it's been a good episode. I didn't expect it to be. I struggled, but I really appreciated the album and appreciated the time. There was a lot to unpack. As much as we spoke about the album, we were able to reflect on why he didn't succeed, why the album didn't succeed, and which is unfortunate for him and others in that category. What are your reflections?
I think we need, Miss J, we need to make Namdi a nice cup of hot cocoa. We need to get him a blanket and we need to tuck him in bed because this guy's ready to sleep by the looks of it. He's ready. I think we need to let this guy go.
Tuck him in.
Tuck him in bed with a hot cup of cocoa. Good night, sir. I think my thoughts on the album. I can't really say any more than what I've already said.
Not just the album, but just as we reflected on actually why the album itself didn't succeed, why he didn't succeed, why he just came and went. You said something to Shade about was it Shades that you said that they worked with him, or London Jones and Shades?
Yes. Yeah, he wrote one of their. He's like a co-writer on one of their songs.
Okay.
So they were in the studio. That's what they said. They were in the studio with him.
Yes.
But I noticed in the write-up you did for this guy, he's changed his name. I didn't know he changed his name. Okay. So I didn't know that.
He changed his name?
I didn't know that too. Okay. Well, we if anyone knows London Jones or
I'd like to talk to him. If we can get hold of him, we would like to dig him out of his hole somewhere that he's probably hiding in. He's probably not done any music for a while, and say, look, we appreciate you.
Yeah. But also, just as we wrap up, starting on Monday's Trailer Ren, for those who didn't realize, he was signed to GR Production. And he was part of Redhead Kingpin's group. So Redhead Kingpin's second album, he's singing the hooks in a lot of tracks, and he tells the same story that Basic Black did. Christmas, December of 1990, December of 1990, when GR Productions finally breaks up. Teddy finds out that all his money's been gone, and everyone's closed for Christmas, and they don't come back. And he was like, he thought he was the only one telling the story. And I said, no, Basic Black said the same thing. That
don't spoil it, Andy. Don't spoil the interview.
No. So, but I'm just trying to get everyone to. So,
just people just watch the Trailer Ends. He's worked hard. The guy's worked hard. Please watch the Trailer Ends interview, please, before he spoils it for us all.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So, but that's Gene Griffin turns up everywhere, and that's always a shock for me that anyone is shooting at Gene.
In bed, and I'm going to give Miss J a bit of a telling off it shortly as well. So, so we need to land that plane, Andy.
Ronnie Henson 89 look up this album for review. Okay. All right, guys. So as I mentioned, next week we have Make It Last Forever. I think I know every song by heart. I can't imagine what my number one is going to be. We got Jackie McGee, who's going to be telling us backstage stories about that. And I think we're doing the Bad album and the Bobby's King of Stage as well. So it's been great. It's been good.
Loads to come.
Loads to come. So we will see you guys, and thanks as always for being part of the team. Thanks for your comments and the feedback.
And we wish you joy over Easter.
Joy.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of
And somewhere in between
us for even loving us, on which I did miss you.
What was it like growing up?
Still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what those boys win all
Play it.
these guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.